Welcome to Talking Pictures Trivia, the podcast in which a group of friends explore movies through trivia. I'm one of these friends, KJ, and with me is...
Tom.
And Brian.
For those joining us for the first time, we start off each episode with 4 rapid-fire trivia questions, and possibly a few bonus questions. Audience, feel free to play along from home. The first question is worth 1 point, and each question after that is worth 1 more point. Then, we'll follow it up with our famous movie rant, where anything goes. Tom, tell us about today's movie.
Walking up to theaters in 1979, we would have had to choose between Mad Max, Dawn of the Dead, Rocky II, Moonraker, Meatballs, The Muppet Movie, and today's movie, Alien. Alien follows a ship, a mining ship that's returning to Earth when it is stopped by a beacon, a supposed SOS. The members of the ship go down to see if they can help whomever seems to be signaling help, and instead they come back with a vicious extraterrestrial which cuts through the ship and causes them to reconsider their mission and fight for their lives.
It's time for Question 1.
How many life forms are on the ship at the beginning of the movie?
Oof.
So, Tom, we're counting the number of life forms on the ship. So, can I just throw out an example? Like, Sigourney Weaver counts as 1?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll give you a hint. There are no plants.
Really?
I am offering this question as if there are no plants.
Is this a trick question?
Ooh, well, I definitely think it's a trick question.
Let me mark some. Hold on a second. I got to go around the pod.
But I think I know the tricks. My problem is just going to be the straight. Like, I know what. Yeah.
I know the trick, but I don't know enough information to fall into the trick.
Locked in. I think it's a trick question.
Yeah, it's a double trick. All right.
Locked
in. Locked in.
All right, KJ, what do you have?
All right, can I go through them? Is that all right?
You may.
Or do you just want the total?
You could do what you like.
Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to start with the first trick, the cat.
Right? Yep, Jonesy, right?
Jonesy, not Indiana. Okay, then we're going to have the 2 guys who are only getting 1 share or half a share or something. The 2 maintenance guys.
Yep.
We got Sigourney Weaver. We have the guy who eventually gets face hugged. We have the captain. And then we have the other nervous lady. So I'm going 7. I'm going 7 life forms.
I'm going 7 as well, taking into account Jonesy and not considering Ash.
Yeah, not Ash.
Don't want to ruin it for anybody that's listening, so I don't know. Well, I'm sure we'll get to that. Maybe we'll just...
we have spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers are out.
So spoilers are out. Okay.
Yep.
If you haven't seen this movie in the last 40 years, then so be it.
It's your fault, yeah.
Your fault.
You're probably not going to do well on the trivia.
And that is correct. It is 7. Okay, very well done.
It's time for Question 2.
Who is the first person to wake?
Locked in.
It's a weird scene, guys. Like,
it's a really interesting scene. I love that opening scene.
It is.
Right? Because it's like birth or something, right?
Mm-hmm. It's slow. It's awkward. They're wearing awkward things. It's a little bit like what you think Jesus might have been wearing when he woke up again. I'll lock in with a guess.
All right, KJ, what's your guess?
I'm gonna say the guy that got face hugged. I don't remember his name.
Yep. That's my answer too. Kane. Kane is I think he was the face hugger.
That's correct. It's Kane. John Hurt's Kane.
Just a side note, those life pods certainly can take humans and cats at the same time, I guess, right? That's fine. But it's also designed to not freak out if a giant metal robot gets put in there. Right? Like, I don't know what life support takes, but if there's any kind of microwaves,
Mhm.
But thinking
Well,
about it, did we see Ash
Mm.
in the?
we
I'm
do,
trying
yeah. He's
to.
actually
So
next
he
to John
is.
Hurt.
He's next.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Um, I I guess so, unless he just turns off, or he's so lifelike that he requires the same treatment.
It could be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Which at which point it's like kind of like just hire a guy maybe instead of
It-
instead of
Yeah,
investing in
some
a
sort of
guy.
fluid coming out of him at the in his
Mhm.
final moments, whether that was hydraulic fluid or milk for that matter.
It's pretty
But
gross either way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's time for question 3.
Who is the second person to die?
Um, locked in.
Locked in, but this is the trickiest question so far, Tom, I got to say.
All right. What do you got, KJ?
All right, so the first guy to die, I think, was the facehugger guy who had the alien pop out of his chest. I think the
Right.
second guy to die was the crewman who always agrees. He was one of the guy getting half shares or whatever, and he always agreed with the other guy.
All right. And Brian, what do you have?
That's my answer too. While he was looking for Jonesy, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
That's correct. That's Brett, played by Harry Dean Stanton. The great Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, I was going back and forth in my head between Dallas, but wasn't sure when he jumped into the duct, if that was before or after. But that's what I came with.
Okay. And we are at our final question.
And we're all tied up.
We're all tied up at 6. Yes. Ooh. Very dramatic.
It's time for question 4.
What is the name of the ship?
Oh. Locked in.
Yeah, locked in as long as spelling doesn't count.
No, I would like you to
But how
say.
how you say it's gonna be the problem, because in my head I'll let KJ first.
What do you have?
Nostradamus.
Okay, Brian, what do you have?
It's like half of me is thinking, what's that Johnny Five saying? Nosotros kick your blank, but it's not nosotros. It's no nos moro. I'm gonna go with nos moro.
Okay, you're both kind of wrong.
I thought it was the dude that makes predictions. Nostradamus.
No, it's Nostromo. It's a Joseph Conrad
Nostromo.
reference.
Oh.
Nostromo was a probably the most famous of Joseph Conrad's novels.
Gotcha.
Which, think of Joseph Conrad as being like sailing into foreign territory and what have you.
We've greatly disappointed Tommy.
You're still tied. All right. Are we ready for a bonus question?
Yes,
right.
worth 5 points.
Worth 5 points, and here we go for all the Skittles, which you might want or not want, depending on your opinion on Skittles. But here we go.
I'm not a Skittles guy.
Yeah, they're okay.
Nick's a Skittles guy. Hopefully he wins this.
Of course, yeah.
It's time for a bonus question.
What is the only good thing on the ship? And this is a specific reference.
Locked in.
Oh, you're gonna get this one. Locked in.
All right, what do you got, Brian?
Sleep. That's wrong. It's like,
what do you have, KJ?
That cup of coffee he's drinking.
Up, and KJ wins it.
Nice one. Very good.
I had a
Very
bunch
good. Nice
of
job.
bonus questions, but yeah.
Well, let's hear him. Let's go double or
Yeah,
nothing. I'll
as I
go
say,
double or
yeah.
nothing.
Let's
One
do
of
it.
them you actually answered in the conversation, so I couldn't do
Ooh.
it. It was how many shares does Brett and Parker get?
It's like half. It was confusing, but I think it was like they each got a half or something.
Or half of what everyone else would get.
Yeah, they got a half share. Though at one point, Sigourney Weaver's Ripley says you're by law guaranteed a share.
Right.
Right.
So I don't know if she meant that technically,
Or
as in
to
one
both of
share,
them, or
By
Yeah.
responding or something to the to the alert.
or just like you get something. Like you're not going to get nothing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Okay, what type of ship is this?
what type of ship is this? Mining ship?
Okay, what do you got, Brian?
Heavy freight mover.
Oh, it's
Close-ish.
a commercial towing vehicle.
Commercial towing vehicle.
I don't know how much.
Oh man, how many of those questions did you have on?
I could give you a few more.
Yeah, let's keep them coming.
What is Dallas willing to take responsibility for?
Sometimes I can't get specific and I get kind of philosophical, so locked in with a.
What's your philosophical?
It's the idea when they come back on the ship, and Sigourney Weaver's like, I can't believe you did that. We should all be in quarantine. Da da da. And he's like, I'll take responsibility for that.
Yep,
Okay,
that was my infecting the ship.
Oh,
they opened the pod door.
It isn't. It's actually. He says, "I'll take responsibility when they take the facehugger off." And Ash says, "It might kill him." And he says, "I'll take responsibility."
You're right.
Yep.
We keep going, or we jump into our conversation.
Give you one more.
I'll give you one more that actually leads into our conversation. What is the computer referred to in the film?
Mother.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
KJ wins. Nice.
Yeah,
one, nice.
I'm going to take that one then. So congratulations to Nick.
Congratulations to Nick. Well done, Nick.
Congratulations, Nick. I hope you get those Skittles.
Yeah, exactly.
You like those. Audience, stay tuned for a surprisingly acidic movie rant coming up right after this break. Join another Talking Studios production, Limited Lexicon, where we play through text-based adventure games. Text-based adventure games were computer games from before computers had graphics. The game uses text to describe a scene, and the player types back how they want to interact with the game. I'll read the text from the computer, and my co-host will feed me commands. This season, we're playing through The Hobbit from 1982 on the ZX Spectrum. Here's a quick sample.
I thought a lot about our first command, and I think it should be no print, because we don't want to print things as we're going along.
I think by default, it's not going to print. And even if I did type print, where is it going to print to? 1982?
I would imagine if we go west, we're going to be south of the troll, right? Just south of the troll land.
Yeah, let's try it.
You go west. The troll's clearing. The visible...
Oh, we died.
All right.
The troll saw us and killed us.
So I think we have to say the answer to the riddle then.
The answer is dark.
Say dark, I think.
Talk to what?
Gollum.
Say Gollum dark.
You talk to Gollum. Thorin says, hurry up.
And we died.
What?
And we died.
So we went northeast last time. So let's go southwest.
You go southwest. Visible exits are north, northwest. You see the valuable golden ring.
Oh.
We're ending it here. That's
Wait.
perfect.
Oh,
That's
right.
perfect.
Limited Lexicon, coming to your podcatcher and YouTube in late 2022 by Talking Studios. And we're back. So Tom, childhood movie, huh? Yeah?
Yeah.
Is this,
I really enjoyed this movie as a little boy. I think it was just the design of the alien was very capturing. I also captured my imagination, and I also love the biology of the organism. There's a very clear articulation of how this thing grows. It's often referred to as the perfect organism, which makes no sense since it requires like a dead person, a person to die in order to, come to life or whatnot. But I was always kind of fascinated by the starkness of the movie in contrast to the clarity of the biological stuff going on inside the ship. Like the ship is stark and dark and labyrinth, and so is the creature, but it's also like the creature by comparison is so much more clear as to what it's doing than all the text stuff. And I think as a little kid, I really was intrigued by that.
What was the word you said for that you kind of disagreed with?
Oh, a perfect organism.
Perfect?
Yeah, I think that's what Kane refers to him, right? At one point,
Oh,
the android. I think
perfect.
it says
Okay.
it's like a
Does he say Kane or is it Ash?
or Ash. I'm sorry, Ash.
It was
Yeah,
Ash.
the robot. Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
he does kill the guy that died right in the beginning. So it could be, that's a requirement, not for birth, but to get to the next stage, he needs to have a kill.
Yeah. I it seems like it can't hatch on its own, which obviously does not make a perfect organism.
I see what you're saying. The
Yeah.
word perfect. Yep, got it now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, that's kind of reoccurring because in different films, the one that just jumped out at me when you said that, or just how it birthed itself out of the chest cavity. I think of X Files: Fight the Future, where the black oil, it incubates inside of a person, blasts straight on out. Same thing. I mean, maybe they took the idea from Alien.
No, possibly. But Brian, this is your first watch of the whole movie?
This is so 2 days ago was my second watch. The first watch was a while back, and actually during that or shortly after that watch, I don't know if it's just YouTube algo. I don't know. It wasn't even on YouTube, so it couldn't have been a YouTube algo. I probably just came across an infographic. It's one of the uh, YouTube channels that I subscribe to, and it's the video went deep into Alien, and I don't know if I'm using canon the right way. I know you guys discussed canon in the past, but there's a whole world dedicated to these type of organisms, and what makes them what they are and how they developed. And I don't know if you're aware of that, but it gets pretty deep out there on the internet in different communities. So that's kind of interesting. It really affected a lot of people, I guess. It's a great plot setup or plot line, and people just ran with it for the last couple decades.
Yeah. I also like the design, I think, is what is so intriguing. The Geiger design of the creatures and also that other ship. You have Mothership, which is it's like odd. It's a labyrinth, but it's also like a sterile birth space. Like that opening scene is so weird where everybody wakes up. It's so slow and they're like coming to life in this like glorious white space. And you go into the other ship and you meet the aliens, and it's like the the bones of everything are on the outside, like an insect, right? Everything seems, even the fossilized alien, right? It's like its nose is a bone that connects to its sternum. It's a weird, like very, very kind of creepy design. And it's this odd thing because like the the man-made space is, it's just kind of either sterile or boring, but it's being run by kind of an evil mother. It's called Mother and it's evil. And anything that talks about like coming to life, and it talks about, but anything that depicts coming to life is kind of inverted in the movie into something kind of brutal and hard. Like when the alien comes to life, when it's birthed, it kills things. Like that's the consequence. And it's also, as a like little baby alien, it's completely unrecognized as organic or anything anybody wants to be around. It's just such a creepy concept because it seems to be about like birth and being kind of guided by a bad mother. That seems to be what's going on in this movie. It's really unsettling.
Hey, Tom, why do you think Mother was evil? Why do you think the computer was evil?
Well, for the actual literal reason is the company wants the alien. We don't really know why. Somebody says maybe for the weapons department. Seems like a terrible weapon. You can't control it at all. But regardless, the computer is clearly completely indifferent to the people it's brought to life, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's complete. It doesn't care about them, and maybe it's the company that's ordered it or whatnot. But the computer is clearly lying in order to, or working with the robot in order to get the alien on board, regardless of the consequences to the people. It doesn't care. And the fact that they call it Mother, and the fact that we start the movie with Mother like waking everyone up, kind of giving life to these people again, in order to be completely callous about what happens to them is really creepy.
Not to ruin anything, but in the I don't know if the sequels follow right after the original Alien, but do we ever find out who's controlling Mother? The actual company or the
company people? So in the sequel, it's more of a rehash. Like the company is evil and wants the alien again, and Paul Reiser is sort of the representative of the company in the sequel. Alien Cubed, you don't meet them. Alien Cubed is a more isolated. She gets lost onto a prison planet. You see a little bit of them in Alien 4. In the prequels, you meet the guy who founds the company, played by Guy Pearce. And if you've seen the prequels, it's a little silly. It's like this group of extraterrestrials made the aliens as a weapon, and they put a map on Earth for some reason, and so Guy Pearce's Wayland wants to fly to the place where the aliens are, but then the aliens don't want. I mean, it doesn't make any sense on its own, and it's not that interesting, even if it did. I much prefer this version, which is just like there's an aberration in space and it's dangerous.
So, Tom, when you watched this as a kid, was it like gather all your friends over for a sleepover? What
Friends.
what was the circumstance in which, right? Like, is it 8-year-old Tom is like reaching out to the VCR to put the home box office recording it? Like, what does this look like? Is it nighttime? Is it daytime? Is it?
It's whenever. I mean, I watched it a lot, and eventually my mother said I couldn't anymore. She said it was like I couldn't watch because it was rated R, and that'd be bad for me. Now, having seen the movie a few times, I don't know what the prohibition was supposed to accomplish, but I guess so. I guess it was like we had a little VCR player, and I would put that movie on and watch it. And then I also became really I really wanted to see the other ones in the trilogy. So I remember renting them from the library. I don't know how I was friends with all the librarians as a kid, so I managed to sneak some things out. I kept getting in trouble because they would tell on me to my mother.
Because your mom worked at the library too, right?
She did, and they would be like, yeah, he's got like another Anne Rice novel. Maybe you should check up on him. Yeah, and so I would do that and watch the movies, watch those movies at home, which they don't like. I don't think Alien Cubed certainly is quite a bad film, despite having David Fincher as its director. Aliens is serviceable action mush, but it's also just not that. It's a shoot 'em up film, and it doesn't have any of the kind of horror that this one does, and even the kind of ticking clock thing we have in this film you also have in that, and it's just a little bigger and louder and boomier, which is not that interesting.
Is Bill Paxton in the second?
He is. He plays Hudson is his character in the second. Yeah,
I just remember hearing a sound effect back in the day when that was the cool thing to download from AOL. Game over, man! It's game over. Was that was from Aliens?
That was from Aliens. Yeah.
Put it all together.
Yeah, that was Michael Benn from the original Terminator is also in it. Yeah, but it's interesting, like how a kind of mythos develops around this like alien thing, because there's nothing to it, right? It's just a big monster. I mean, it might as well be like monster lives under your bed, bites you, and I mean, I think the whole thing is like just the design is so, and the Geiger's design is so creepy that people are intrigued by it, and it's also enough of a blank canvas that if you're a filmmaker who wants to come along and take the alien and make your own story out of it, you can, because there's so little there that it offers the imagination opportunities.
On this rewatch, I forgot that it really starts as a sci-fi film. For the first hour or so, you're on the ship, you land on the planet, you see that giant alien ship, and then like you were saying, Tom, you're going through it, you see the bones, and there's a little bit of creepiness, right? It's scary because it's unknown in space, but at that point, it's not necessarily a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more of a sci-fi film, and I always forget that the movie isn't just Ripley running from the alien. There is that whole first half where they meet the alien and, try to kind of figure out what happened to the previous ship and the exploration part.
And there's a number of inversions they do in that beginning, right? First of all, Sigourney Weaver was not the most famous actress in that cast. John Hurt was at that time. So just like in Psycho, where they kill off the main character, sorry to spoil Psycho, for like 40 minutes into the movie, they do the same thing here with John Hurt. It was expected that John Hurt would be the hero of the film because he's the most famous. Him and John and Scarrett were the most famous actors in the movie, and so getting rid of him that quickly is disorienting for an audience at that time. And also, everybody's much older than your typical action cast, right? Like, I think John Hurt was 39 at the time. Ian Holm, everybody's favorite Bilbo Baggins, was I think like 46 when he
I was
made this
trying to
movie.
figure out who that was.
Yeah,
That makes a lot. I'm like, I know that voice. I kept thinking he was the I'll say the only actor in Halloween. I kept getting him confused
Oh,
with
Donald Pleasant.
Yep. The voice sounded similar, but no, that makes a
Yeah.
lot more sense that he's
Yeah, no, he's much more accomplished than Donald Pleasant. Ian Holm is one of like the great Shakespearean actors too. Did a very famous Lear when I was a kid that I saw.
we could have done that one.
That was also at the library. They had a video of it at the library. That's where I saw it.
It's amazing what you can find at the library.
Mhm. Oh yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, I think so. The actor, and so a lot of the actors are like, Sigourney Weaver's 29. Everybody else is in their 30s or 40s, and so it's not like Predator, right? Where everybody's jacked out of their mind and has like 15 guns and is saying like really cool things about being a sexual Tyrannosaurus or what have you. This movie has these kind of physically unimpressive middle-aged people without resources trying to deal with a problem. They're probably a lot closer to their audience than most horror action movies would be.
Yeah, I didn't realize Sigourney Weaver was actually that old. I thought she was younger in this, but it makes sense.
And it was something I read. Well, I guess it was Monday, maybe Tuesday, where Sigourney Weaver was, I think, the last person cast for this movie. The person who was going out for it was, or for her role, Ripley's role, was Veronica Cartwright, if what I read was correct, who ended up playing Lambert. But yeah, so it seems like it's really jump started her career.
I also heard Jane Fonda almost had the role. And then I heard Meryl Streep was supposed to have it, but I think she lost somebody close to her right when the interview.
John Cazale,
Yeah.
Fredo, yeah.
So.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah, because Fredo would have, John Cazale would have died in 1978. That was her husband. Yeah.
No, I was going to say one of the funny parts, or the things when I look back, just to see how they had the alien kind of scramble across the room once it bust out of Kane. That's something that seemed very 1979. And looking back at that diner scene in Spaceballs, I could see that alien doing a tap dance routine just with the how choppy that little walk out of the room was. But that was just something on the top of my mind.
Yeah, they apparently had cut the table in half and slit it together. They also Veronica Cartwright in that, who gets covered in blood. They didn't tell her that was going to happen.
So when she's blood at her.
Yeah, so when she's like screaming, that's authentic. She did not know that was going to happen.
Nice, good on her.
Well, I'd like to once again congratulate our winner of the week, Nick. Well done again. I know you knew all the answers to those bonus questions.
He did.
He did. He must have.
You can rate and review this show anywhere podcasts are available. For those viewing in YouTube land, if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the Talking Studios channel for all our exciting content, and follow us on Twitter at Talking Studios. Check out other shows by Talking Studios, including Keep Making Movies, where we explore micro-budget films, Limited Lexicon, where we play through text-based adventure games, and Get the Point, where we slowly reveal a movie poster and try to guess which movie poster it is. Got a question for us? Call the Talking Studios hotline at 201-467-8679 and leave a message. It may be featured on a future episode. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Talking Pictures Trivia wherever fine podcasts are found.
Join us next time when we discuss a movie from Chris's childhood, Monster Squad from 1987. Stay tuned for our first impressions of Monster Squad.
Ding, 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 ding.
Next week, we'll be discussing Monster Squad from 1987. Chris, how was your watch?
I've seen this movie a number of times because I remember this from my childhood, obviously, based on the whole block that we're doing. Uh, I have to admit that this last time watching it through a different colored lens and a different kind of like social atmosphere, some of the stuff was a little cringy. But at the same time, I still really loved it. It's quintessentially 1980s. It feels like a Goonies ripoff, which I think is exactly what it was supposed to be. And I'm a sucker for the Universal monsters. I've always loved those movies, and I love those like pure horror icons of Dracula and the creature and Frankenstein. So anytime you can kind of mix Goonies shenanigans, crazy one-liners, and the Universal monsters, I'm totally in. And I love this movie, and I hope that anybody that watches it can get past some of the 1980s of it all and enjoy it for what it actually is. KG, well, how was your watch?
Yeah, Chris, like you, I also grew up with this movie. My mom must have taped it off of something, so I watched this quite a bit as a kid. I think it was my introduction to the classic Universal monsters, or the closest thing to them legally without being the classic Universal monsters. That was a while ago, and then about a few years ago, I rewatched it, and guys, I like this movie. I really like this movie, and audience, one of the things I encourage you to look out for is how well a few of the shots are blocked and framed, but then how corny and cheesy and poorly made the movie is. That contrast I really enjoyed. There's also a documentary called Wolfman Has Nards that I recommend. It's kind of it's a very modern documentary just talking about how fans love the film now. And audience, it's a quick movie. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It kind of feels like it's missing an act somewhere in there, but I really enjoyed it. Go check it out. Tom, how was your watch?
I had not seen this movie until today when I watched it earlier. I've been a bit busy, so I had to save it for today. I will say that the idea of the framing shots that you mentioned is intriguing. And yes, it does feel like it's missing an act. It is very quick, which is fine. I kind of prefer its speed to being more full, whatever that's supposed to mean. I think for me, what gets lost, and this is not a comment on the talent of the child actors, but more how child actors are used, is that I had a hard time investing in the kids. I think the child actors were either used very well, or you didn't cast them particularly well. Whatever it was, you kind of appreciate an E.T. or a Spielberg movie in which he tends to really find either really good actors, or just he knows how to work with child actors in a really good way. And I think that's what ends up being kind of distant for me in this, is I'm not riding the wave like a child, like you would in the Sandlot, for example, even though these kids are a bit younger than the kids in the Sandlot. And I think that was what was missing for me.
Monster Squad is available on Paramount Plus at the time of this recording. Wow, Talking Studios. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if Jim Henson could have helped. I mean, the Alien was pretty good, but
oh god, I mean, imagine what the Henson version of this.
Bulgy eyes.
you just want to hug it.
It's not easy being alien.
Whatever color, black, stark black, matte black.
It kind of moves through the ship like.